Yeah, this is my first. I'm not like you guys tech savvy. This is my first time coming hi
There we go.
onto Discord.
We
So
got Mia
Okay.
Khalifa. Mia Khalifa live on the
Oh
Live.
boy.
okay, so I didn't live with him, but I met Santos when he first came to Mexico, and I didn't know about his channel or anything like that.
Oh, you didn't. So you just randomly met him?
He came into my restaurant.
Okay.
You know, I had a vegan restaurant, like you're saying, and I guess the guy needed to eat, so he came in. He's doing a live stream.
Once a week, he'd come in and get a slice of an orange.
No, he was there two to three times a day. That's how we became friends, you know. And
Jesus.
he was always
he's a
honorable.
big
He's a
tipper.
frequent patron.
He's a big tipper
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah, Yusuf and him were my most frequent patrons.
Was he a tipper?
Yeah, yeah,
Must
but
have been.
you know, again, like unless I'm working a shift, I don't get that. You know, I just give it directly to my workers. And I found out they were stealing from me anyway. You know, I closed the
Oh.
restaurant the end of last year when I left Syncretism Society. I left Mexico. Yeah.
But
the-
you were working pretty directly with whatever this is. Like what's the
Right.
setup? What's the setup of the society? Like what is
so
it?
the reason
It's
I
a
started
compound.
no, it's not. It's one office and one bathroom and maybe one other room.
Okay.
That's it. So the reason I started with like how I met Santos is because then you'll understand this whole story. When I met him, there was already itching going on, problems with itching and
With you or him?
not able to sleep. Santos.
Okay.
That's why he was coming to my restaurant too, because eventually he confided that he wasn't able to sleep, so I would give some herbal supplement, you know, valerian root or something like that. But many times, I don't know. I think maybe for some men it's hard to say that they need help, but he would always act like he was fine, and then I had to really question him and be like, "Well, are you really fine? Did you sleep well? What? Then I'll get the truth. You know, no, I didn't sleep." And it was, and then at that time, you know, maybe once or twice a week, he was taking a sleeping pill, and he was totally like a zombie the day after. You know, and again, I'd be like, "How are you? I'm fine. Did you sleep? No. Did you take a pill? Yeah. Man, I told you to call me. You know, don't take the pill. Just call me or call Yusuf and we'll come help you." And this went on for like 7 months. You know, we were trying to help Santos. And Santos himself knew he had stuff to heal. It's like he had come to Mexico to heal some of those things that he hadn't healed. And that means, you know, that excessive anger, like being vile, you know, if someone called him out on the comments back in those days, and this is 2020, the pandemic is when he moved to Mexico. Um, so
he moved there to avoid taxes that he had in America, though, right?
Or was it the
I have no idea. The reason
was it
he
the
said
killing?
he
Yeah, he
moved
did.
there was a COVID.
And he killed
and
killed him. He
Killed
killed
the
a
guy.
man as well. So.
Yeah, he said it was in self-defense, but
Right. Yeah.
We'll see.
I was just what I noted is, see, it took a long time for the man to actually soften up. You know, sometimes a lot, like maybe hours of the day, or, and when he did soften up, he was riddled with guilt about having killed the man, and you know, just in tears collapsed. And maybe that he also confessed that maybe that's not allowing him to sleep. But I did the right thing, you know. He would justify endlessly.
I'd sleep like a baby if
trauma.
I
It's
was
deep
self-defense
trauma.
somebody.
Well, if he's having guilt about it, then maybe there's some inconsistencies with the scenario, like
Right.
obviously, or he could just have genuine survivor's guilt, which is a thing, and he could have PTSD as well if you believe in all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, I
It
mean,
could be
like
either
having,
way, yeah.
he said he bludgeoned a man to death with his bare hands. Like that's a pretty graphic scenario for
He's a-
anyone to
Never
have to cope
used
with.
to-
Don't get me wrong, I'm with Drew. I'd sleep like an angel if someone came in my home and tried harming my son, and I cooked him with a couple right hooks. I'd be dandy with that, but. I could see it taking like 15 minutes, he said, or something. Like that's a pretty extreme situation to be in. And then the other chick's already had her head caved in or whatever. It's like it's pretty messed up. Like I'd probably have a little trouble sleeping at night dealing with that. And I mean, the
Yeah,
fact that he's only taking pills, like he's not abusing alcohol or like other narcotics, like is kind of like mildly impressive. I mean, he could be a closeted like addict, but you never know. Like
well,
I don't
he
know. He is very
admits,
belligerent sometimes, though.
he just admits with me, did
He
you do
he
this? Like, why
confided
are you
in you.
taking so many substances? Because even in one day, taking a combo and then you go and take DMT, it's just
Yeah,
that's the scene in Mexico where we are at, like among the
right.
the foreigners. It's just come and play and have
Like be
sex
new agey and shit.
and have drugs. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, I don't know. I always felt like his protector because even at that time he was like a celebrity. Everybody wanted something from him. It's not like there's people like you, me walking around. It's usually all these vampiric types. I don't know how else to describe them. And they're always trying to have sex with him, get close to him, na na na.
Men or
And
women?
Yeah.
seemed like both in my
Yeah, I was
Both,
gonna say
yeah,
probably a
yeah,
combo of both down there with the new
yeah.
agey shit going on and all the drugs and
because
whatever. Yeah.
the town itself, like, there's this imposed culture of polyamory among
Ugh.
the
Mm.
yogis, and that
Yeah.
is really what gave me a salty taste about all of this.
Yeah.
Because
Fuck that.
behind that is children trafficking and human trafficking. Like,
Ew.
that's what's really going on
I know
behind
that.
this whole polyamory, we love all
Oh
crap.
yeah, that one love agenda bullshit. I got into that with like a friend of mine the other day, and I was just like, no, that is such a dangerous
Well, I
attitude to
mean,
have.
is that not syncretism? I mean that is the religion of ball.
Well,
Male,
the sad
all
thing is
male.
we actually talked at length about it, and see, my idea, gosh, it didn't happen, so what the heck. But we were doing small scale classes out of my restaurant, sounding people out, donation based classes. Santos would never take any money for it. He would just leave it for the tips for my workers, and he'd just say, take it and give it to them.
That's pretty
And
cool.
we thought we were doing something good. But my idea, he kept saying, that these people are good people, the people that follow me. And I said, he's looking to make a school in Mexico. And I said, this is perfect. We need people to come here and buy land that are not a-holes and that will abuse children and bring drugs into the town, because they're bringing drugs from Europe and selling it among each other and all that. Like, there's like many, many, many secondary markets, around the sex yoga, whatever they're selling. So,
Sex
um,
yoga.
I wanted people to come and buy land, and we would just basically push them out, or we could have enough people to do our own thing, or that was my thinking. And it seemed to be a group of people that wouldn't consume alcohol, or that they were respectful, and yeah. So that was just me and Santos and Yusuf when we were living in that town in Oaxaca where I had my restaurant. And um I'm just saying the man was trying to heal, and I saw some result. I saw some softening. I saw some admission of, yeah, okay, I need to get off of my high horse, and start to come down to earth. I can't live like this forever. And then he has a conference in Puerto Morelos, which is outside of Cancun. And his whole thing was, I'm getting in my car and I'm going to my conference, and then I'll come back and we'll just continue to do what we were doing. But then he goes to his conference, and I think about that time, this is now November of 2020, is somehow Daniel finds out. I mean, so many people know about that conference, right? It's easy to find out. And Daniel at that time inserts himself into Santos's experience in Puerto Morelos. And I met him. I met him like a couple of days after they met, after Santos and Daniel met. And even at that time, I mean, I was repulsed by him, but you could, he was already making it his business to surround Santos. So to
What?
surround him, to look at him, also there's like, I don't know how to explain this. It's a neuro linguistic programming when you how do I explain it? Like you look at a certain body part of someone, or you look between their eyebrows, or it was like he when Santos was talking, he would look at him in that certain way, and then as Santos was gaining momentum, he would cut off his look or energy, and then Santos would sort of come down, and you don't know, he doesn't know why, but it's a cleverly crafted, like a carrot and the stick, emotionally. And even then, it was just a few days after Santos had met this guy, and he was like, "Yeah, this guy has a good body. He's gonna teach me how to be like him. He's gonna get me a body like him." And I just thought that was ridiculous. But like, what the heck? Why does that even matter all of a sudden? Like, oh, I need to look like him. I need to be a muscular man. So that's when I think the problem with the dad is coming in, because Santos' father died, maybe I think sometime last year, but before that they hadn't really made up. There was no catharsis. There was no closure, and Santos's dad was not nice to him growing up. It was like, oh, you will never succeed. You'll be a failure in life. Have some.
Sounds like everyone's dad, to be honest. Like, I've got a pretty estranged relationship with my father. I still love the man. Like, you don't get closure sometimes. You honestly don't. And I understand, like,
Right.
losing a loved one is not an easy thing, but, I've lost lots of people that I care about, and I didn't get closure with them. Lost one of my best friends. I didn't even get to see him before they closed the casket. So it's like, got to cope with those things sometimes.
Well, I think that the coping didn't happen because Daniel seems to have come in and swooped into that vacuum. You know what I'm saying? Like, he fills the father gap and the son gap in some way. And this is by Santos' own admission. He's like a son to me. He thinks of me as a father. He does not. He treats him like a piece of crap, like how worse than the sleaziest producer is going to treat his talent. He just treats him really badly. But
Like a shiesty manager from Hollywood or some bullshit. And, he's coping by dealing with the, prior trauma by filling that void, like you're saying, with
right.
the missing son or the missing father paradigm that he never got to deal with or cope with or come to terms with the loss of his own.
This is the one he's going to change. You understand me? This is the guy he's going to bring over to veganism. I mean, it really sounds like an abusive marriage or something, because Daniel gives just the right amount of plausible deniability at that beginning, because I found out that he inserted himself into Santos' experience, but also their Mexican administrative staff, which nobody knows, but there's 2 Mexicans there in that office that help them. And they get treated like crap, like really, really badly. And obviously, when I try to say something, it's like, "Oh, love, don't worry, I got it." You don't. What do you know, basically? So, he inserts himself also into the life of this young secretary type figure that they have, and she lost her dad. Imagine, there's a lot of people that die around Daniel. I don't even know why. There's just people just dropping dead. But her dad died, and then her mom, lost a husband, and they're clearly enamored with him. I mean, like, they're just like drooling, when they look at him. And he's most probably, I don't have any proof or dirt, like, to show you, but if I had to bet money on it, I would bet at least $500 that he was having sex with that young girl. And she's only about 21, and he's 36 or something. And she's in a lower position of power. You understand? Like, she's making $100 a week or something under him, and it's just like this, like, do this, do that. Like, that's his expectation. Like, every beck and call, you have to be there. You have to translate for him, because he won't learn Spanish. He won't speak Spanish. He just goes around with that girl, and uses her as a mouthpiece. So he was trying to do that with me too, So anyway, the thing is, he inserted himself at a vulnerable point. You see, the girl's dad has died, and the mom also has lost a husband. And he gives he gives everybody hope. Like, he tries to put a sexuality onto everyone. It's not subtle. And the mom is enamored, and he's using that just to, kind of bring her along. But he's actually doing it with the daughter, and it's just really sick. I don't know how to explain it. I just get a sick crawling feeling in my stomach when I think about that young girl. Um, yeah, so they said that for the first 6 months that they knew Daniel, he had this exercise routine for them. So he would take them to the beach every day and this and that. And that seems to be like the way he's honeypotted them, because that seems to be the highlight. Everyone's referring to that whenever I interrogated the staff that were close to him. Oh yeah, Daniel, he helped me a lot when my dad died. He was taking me to the beach every day. That's the help that he made. Basically, he made everybody get up at a certain time and go to the freaking beach. That was his grand help and emotional. He was an emotional bastion because he did that and ordered a bunch of people around and made them swim around and made a promo video about it. Like, I don't know why they think he is so great. Like, they always associate him with this golden period. And right? That's how a narcissistic,
Yeah, I
abusive
was just about to
relationship
say
works.
that's 100% what I was about to say. I was like, this is how narcissists behave. Like, they just dangle these like tiny little carrots in front of you, but they seem like extra amplified because they paint it in such a glorious way. Like, oh, you should be grateful because like I took you to the beach. Like, what the fuck? No, like that's just like basic friendly behavior. But yeah, no, that's like 100% narcissism. Like the entire time you were explaining to this person, it was just like that's extremely narcissistic. And isn't this the guy that like he'll basically like ban or go on rants and like get like really like volatile to people towards like when they try to tell him these like kinds of things?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
When
And he
did
starts attacking them.
when did Santos start doing that switch to the you fucking cunt? You
Oh my
cunt.
God.
When did that
I
shit
mean,
start
that is
happening?
recent.
Your impression
That
of
is
him
recent.
had me like cackling. I was just like, what? Like and then I caught a few of the shorts you posted, and I was like, holy shit, this is unhinged.
Oh, he's fucking nuts, man.
Right, and what am I, a 3-year-old stuck in a 3-year-old mentality? I mean, I wish he would have actually given some dirt. Just kidding, no. But I just, like, hey, make some better insult, Like, what kind of insult is that? Like, you have some material you can use. God, I don't mean that. Please don't make
No,
it
it's-
happen.
But what do you think caused him to like flip like that?
It's probably pills.
Just
So
some kind
the
of pills,
thing is-
some barbiturates or
Pills,
something.
baby.
Them Barbies.
The sleeping pills will fuck you up after a while. My a friend of a friend, his mother's going through it, and she's like borderline fucking psychotic now
Right.
because it fucks with your sleep. It really does. And yeah, if he's not
You
sleeping
can't
properly,
really sleep because of it, but then when you get zonked out, it's such a weird, you're like in a drone mode.
yeah, you're zombified.
And you need to understand, like, so me and Yusuf, we were trying to keep Santos from going over. We were trying to get him back to like, okay, all right, you're pretty close to the edge here, man. So let's dial it back. Like, no need to focus on your freaking channel all the time or the negative commenters and trying to go on rants. But then we see this flip happen. So I meet Daniel and Santos a few days after they meet each other, and I told you what I gauged, right? But then I met them again a year later when the society was in full swing and I was invited to be a teacher. And honestly, I thought it was my big break. I'm sorry, gotta admit it, but me and Yusuf, we thought, oh, this is it, like we're gonna be big and something's gonna happen. And it was our channels. I don't know what I was thinking, honestly. I bought into it because they were all hyping it up so much, like, this is history, guys, you're part of this. I don't know what crap Daniel was. Initially I did buy into it. And I didn't know that at the time they were launching an academy, there had already been a rift within the people that were organizing it, because a bunch of people had already left. This is prior to November of 2021 when I went over there. A bunch of people already left because they didn't agree with Daniel eating meat. Basically, that was the reason, So there had already been a rift, and then Daniel comes up with the idea of virtual academy because there's going to be no backlash, virtually no backlash. because everybody's online, and he just WhatsApp pressures you, like content, 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 2 videos a week. So shapy. But the thing is, I got paid $200 for everything I did from September through November. Where November I actually moved over there, and Yusuf and I moved there and we gave it a go. And yeah, so that's when we really saw the batshit crazy stuff that you're describing. He still didn't hate us or spew venom at us. The thing is, we got there day one itself, day 1 or 2, there's like a flash outside my window, like someone was taking a picture. The place we lived in, it was supposed to be like a place with some nature around it, but it was just a concrete jungle. Every condo, every townhouse connected to the other townhouse, and it was, I don't know, just didn't feel right. And then there was a black unmarked vehicle parked outside of our condo for a long time one night, and what the heck is that doing there? And then suddenly there's another flash of light, and I'm sleeping with a little puppy by me, and it seems like the dog takes the attack, so she just starts convulsing and convulsing, and it goes on for 2 hours, and it's like 4 a.m. There's no bed open. We're just like, we don't know what to do. So I just start praying. That was basically, I just thought, we might die. If we were trying to get Santos, we already knew what was going on when we got there by day 2 or 3, because somebody sent me the Biash coin. This is Daniel, they said, and the UN cryptocurrency based on the UN Charter, sustainability, blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to show Santos that, and my idea was to lock Daniel in the freaking streaming room and just ask him questions. But then eventually I realized that that's not going to work, because anyone who says anything against Daniel is immediately going to be deleted, from his life, like literally deleted, like anything. And I also find out Daniel's been feeding him. So this is really interesting. Daniel has been telling Santos. Apparently, I think Santos had been expressing the want to go back to Oaxaca and to go back to the beach and where he was before. And Daniel's telling him, no, 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 no. You hate that place. That place sucks. You hated it when you were with Yusuf and Malika. You were unhinged when you were with Yusuf and Malika. You hated it. And I had no idea. Like, I'm not talking smack about Daniel in my free time, trying to brainwash people against him. So I was so surprised. Why would he do that? Then the next weird thing is all the positive memories that Yusuf and I and Santos shared, and his friend David in our place in Mexico. Now suddenly it's transposed onto Daniel. Like that all that honor, all that good experience, all that good, like, whatever fellowship that we had, suddenly, I don't know how, but in his mind now it's associated with Daniel, not us anymore. Then I find out Daniel is like, he's been talking about, oh, Malika's getting fat. Like, what's going on? That girl's getting fat and ugly. Like, what? Like, that's the most important thing for a teacher, at a Truth Academy, is their freaking appearance. So Santos is taking, like, substance after substance at this point. Crystal and Nick, one of the teachers, I'm sorry, one set of teachers that I guess they're the only ones there left. They moved into the condo or the apartment right below Santos. Daniel lives a block from Santos. The office is another block, and everything, it's a street lined with cameras, and Santos's house is almost like on Google Maps. Like, that's how many people just come through there every day. It's like a thoroughfare. And if Daniel says that these people paid something for the academy, then Santos has to entertain them, and it has to be in Santos's place for as much ever time as Daniel sees fit. And also, Daniel tries to control and monetize every word that comes out of that man's mouth. And he was so proud about it. He's like, who can say that within 10 minutes they can get any answer from Santos Bonacci? Who can say that except me? He was boasting about it. And yeah, the substances. So Nick and Crystal were living below, and Nick at this point is like bottling his urine in jars and crystallizing them or something. And then he goes around with like droppers of some freaking liquid. I mean, like, I can't stand the smell of both of them, Crystal and Nick. Like, I couldn't stand to be in the same room, no matter what time of the day, whether they had just showered or not. It was
What
just
the fuck?
unbearable for me.
That's
It
like some
smelled
demonic shit. What, they smell like sulfur?
decomposing.
Decompose, like rotting meat? Ugh. Like, ugh. Ugh. That's so gross.
And they will just look at you, like they won't talk. They don't provide anything in the conversation. All they do is look at you and see what you'll give back. Like, it's very obvious. You know what I'm saying? Like, the eyes, you can
Yeah.
see it in the eyes. And
That's
so
creepy.
Nick is going around with droppers, like, and basically, like, if you want to blend in, you got to take a drop. So supposedly it was marijuana oil. I prayed so hard after that one drop, guys. I don't know. We went home. Once we got home, I was just like, dear God, I don't know what I ingest. I hope it's not some psychedelic hallucinogen. But
Yeah,
anyway,
fuck that.
nothing happened. But that was the scene, and this guy is just Santos. Suddenly he takes ayahuasca out of nowhere. Mixing it with all the pharmaceuticals that's going on, and
Yeah, you're not
I
supposed to do that. Like, you're supposed to. A good friend of mine in the village, his father went on this, like, sorry to interrupt, but he went on this crazy ayahuasca journey with his wife, probably about 12 years ago. And like, they had to do a whole ass cleanse, like, prior to the trip. Like, you had to, like, there was a whole protocol, like 2 months or 6 months prior to the journey that you had to like follow. And this guy who's with his wife, because he's just tagging along, he's eating a fucking rare steak or whatever on the plane, and he's like, yo, you're in the trip, aren't you? And he's like, yeah. He's like, we're not supposed to eat meat. He said that night when they did their first trip, like, homie was the one like convulsing on the ground, and he saw like a parasite crawl out of his chest, and it looked like a fucking black praying mantis. And I was like, yo, that's fucked up. So yeah, if you're blending like pharmaceuticals, which are obviously like, rare red meat is one thing, but this motherfucker's like blending pharmaceuticals with heavy traditional like psychedelics. That's not going to be a good combination. Like, spiritually and mentally, it's going to fuck with you. Oh yeah, definitely. It is a mind control aspect of it. Like, this is what the CIA was doing like very early on with MK Ultra and whatnot. But
yeah, I want to mention that. So one night, me and Yusuf, every day I would try to take him food that I had cooked, because the guy has a personal chef, but it's not just his personal chef. That personal chef is also Daniel's like servant. So the first time I ate his food, I threw up. Like, I couldn't keep it down. Just suddenly I threw up. And then I was fine. But
Well, you think it was
the guy
poison?
wears a skull ring on his ring finger, all in black. Also smelly. Maybe drinks alcohol. I'm thinking, this guy's a freaking personal chef. I don't care how vegan he cooks. I ain't eating his food. And I was thinking that that food was being used as well to administer something to Santos that was unknown. But at least I know that he was taking sleeping pills and maybe some other pharmaceuticals, and he admits as much, right? Valium, Klonopin, and I don't know about the last one, but at least Valium and Klonopin, I know. And those are powerful enough as it is. But then one day, I remember knocking on his door with Yusuf, like, Yusuf, I'm in. I don't know if he's dead. Like, oh my gosh, because it seemed like that's what they were all hinting at. Like, the best thing he could do now is die for the Syncretism Society, and then they can martyr him like they did King T'Challa.
Yeah.
And then
Wakanda.
Black Panther make
Yeah.
$1 billion. I mean, Nick was like, yeah, man, in 10 years I'm gonna be so rich and have properties all over the world, and yeah, that's my plan. That's basically the way these people talk. So we were pounding on the door trying to break it down, and it turns out Santos is just knocked out because he took ayahuasca. I'm thinking, that's the weirdest thing I ever heard. Like, whoever knocked themselves out with ayahuasca, like, that doesn't sound right. And then maybe a few days later, there's an incident that happens where at night Santos is streaming alive, and you can't really see if there's anyone else in the room with him, but he thinks there's 2 Mexican police officers in the room with him. And I don't know if you guys have caught this live stream. It was taken down, but I saw it at the time. But and he's talking to two people inside of his room on the live, and he's telling the people on the live basically like, guys, I think I'm gonna die. I think this is it. You know, I think they're coming here to jab me or something. And he kept telling the police officers, he was talking to them in Spanish in the live. Obviously, no one responds, but like, no, don't be here. This isn't pleasing to me. Like, you need to leave. You're causing me harm. You need to leave. And then I guess Daniel is informed by one of his minions that something's going on, because people start posting on Mr. Astrotheology. People start posting on the Telegram chat, like, is Santos okay? Is Santos okay? Can someone check on Santos? It seems like he's being ambushed in his own house by two Mexican policemen, and they're going to give him a forced vaccination. And right as the stream is ending, you know, Daniel is like knocking on the door and asking, Santos, there's no one there. There's no one there. Chill out. And Santos is saying the Lord's Prayer, and then what he's asking to absolve for his sins. Like, he's ready to die, you know? And I thought that guy is dying tonight. I didn't know. I didn't know what the heck was going on. Then Daniel busts his way in with Nick, and he forces Santos to do a video right after saying, guys, I'm sorry, false alarm. You know, everything's okay. I'm okay. I'm healthy. You know, the basic, like, oh, a victim, whatever the tortured victim has to say, you know. And Santos is still looking so confused there. And he basically forces him to, you know, I'm okay. And when I just said to Daniel, are you not concerned? Like, we're really concerned about what is going on with Santos, why so many substances, something is inside him. And then he's saying, oh, you know, don't worry, love, because Santos has his own protocols. You know, he'll manage, he's fine. So it's clear that while Yusuf and I were caring for the man, I mean, yeah, we got to know about his channel, but it wasn't our first point of entry, you know. But we were trying to bring him back to health. It seems like Daniel, his only thing is to exaggerate all of the unhealthy qualities already present in the man. And then Yusa, I don't know what he has on Santos. I could not get it out of him. I don't know what the guy has on him to have such a big hold. But you mix in like the drugs, the suggestion, neuro-linguistic programming, insecurity that Santos already has, and it's like a perfect storm. I don't know how else to describe it. And I just want to tell you that the concept of loyalty to these people, you know, it's not like a concept of loyalty for you and me. It's not the same thing. For them, if you're loyal to them, then you need to help them kill and bury the body and take the secret to your grave. Like, that is what loyalty means, you know, to this guy. So, and he doesn't mind having people watched, having people followed. Like, that's what he was doing with Crystal and Nick towards me and Yusuf. So he, you know, he doesn't hide who he is. But the thing is, he's given some sort of hope to these people early on by doing a vegan fast, by taking them to the beach. Like, these are the two things that he's done. And maybe he gave them some attention. You know, it's just basically what I'm thinking this is about. And that's what they will remember, you know. Oh yeah, he's healthy because he eats organic and he went on a vegan fast. And oh, he took us to the beach, so he's the greatest ever, and he's a man for the job, you know. So
Yeah, but he's pilling people out and fucking taking advantage of trauma situations, and like, obviously there's like a massive manipulative scale to this. Like, the man doesn't look like Santos doesn't look healthy on film. Like, he really doesn't. Like, especially on like first glance, it's just like, wow, he's like very frail and like he looks like very sick.
right,
Like,
and the
especially on a
girlfriend.
spiritual level, when he starts popping off like that, it's just like, whoa. Like, yeah, you don't expect that kind of vulgarity, I think, out of like someone like that.
So what's
Yeah, and
what's the situation with Santos now?
I don't know. He might be dead for all I know.
Jesus.
I mean, the guy is playing it so close because he, you know, again, in our time together that I'm describing pre-Daniel, the guy wanted to settle down and have a family. God, for Christ's sake, he wanted to have a wife and kids. I mean, he does have a son, but he wanted a family and a home. And this perfect angelic woman shows up, like the most honorable woman I have met. One of the most, if not the most. And she understands everything that's going on with him, and she really wants to help him get to optimum health. But Daniel is made it impossible for Santos to get, like, he's just isolated Santos, like what he's feeding him. And I've heard this directly from Daniel's house, from Daniel's mouth, that we don't need women, women suck, or basically like, who needs them? We got syncretism. Why you need anything else? I don't need them. You don't need them. But behind closed
Sounds
doors,
gay.
Daniel isn't celibate. He's taking anyone that he can, and he's pretending like he's celibate, and he doesn't need it. He doesn't need it, and he's starving Santos. Like, Santos should not have a wife or a girlfriend. He would come in when they were in bed. Just barge into the room of Santos' house when they were in bed. Like, how would you feel? As a woman, I just and she was just basically pushed out of the picture. And the way Santos even talked nasty about her to me, the day we were leaving, gosh, each day that we were there, it took about 6 hours of like emotional massaging to get Santos to even talk like Santos, and not repeat what Daniel had fed him. So you can clearly tell who's talking. And eventually it got to the point where, Santos, if you don't leave today with us in the car, we're resigning. So you choose, like, either your health, because the society's killing you. And we said that to every staff member, like, the society's killing this guy. So we're resigning because he won't take care of his health, and the only thing we can do now is resign and protest. So we resigned and protest, and we came, and he was still, he didn't cuss us out or anything. The first time he cussed me out was whatever, last month, I think. So yeah, that's how the story ended.
When's the last time you talked to him, Santos?
December of 2021.
Okay. So it's been a while. And now I heard he's talking about Daniel is in Africa. Do you know anything what he's doing over there?
No. And I saw this. I saw on my channel, I posted that Crystal was in Greece. Like, she posted a video. These people, they can't resist. Like, they have to show off. So she posted a video in Greece about the time Daniel was supposed to be in Africa, and they were traveling apparently to Africa, but they didn't say where. They were alluding to Africa. But I posted that on my channel, and I was like, hey guys, like, this is it, because it says Syncretism Society in Greece. There's 2 videos on Crystal's channel that say Syncretism Society Greece Sound Oracle. It basically shows they were freaking blowing up people's money just traveling. I think that's what's happened. They just having some joy travel here and there. And anyway, she reacted to it quite strongly, which says more about it. I mean, she actually gave me more ammo. She said, oh, how clueless, you don't know, their tactics. And then she says, we don't receive any money for our work with the society. And I'm like, no, that's a bunch of crap, because I got $200. It was nothing, but I got 200 and Yusuf got 100. And you're telling me they, like, being there in the center of the action, don't get paid? So I asked the question, it's so nice to know that you're a volunteer. So why are you charging $26,000 to relocate people to Mexico, Like, if this is a pro bono work that you're doing as a volunteer. And she's like, oh, she didn't answer. She couldn't. I don't know what you're going to say to that. Because she came at me like, oh, this is our inheritance money. This isn't money we have stolen, blah, blah, blah. We do our work for free with the society, because the society doesn't make that much money anyway. So why do you charge $26K to relocate people? Okay, silence, crickets, So I think they must have been in Europe just having a party, like, whatever, a chrome party.
Your mic cut out or something. So
No, I thought I finished my thought.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw you like covering your mouth like you said something bad, but
No, because I said Chrome and I didn't know if I could say that on here. But
well, I don't even know what that is. What is that? I'm a boomer.
adrenochrome.
Oh,
That's what I
yeah.
was
Okay.
saying. You know that's probably that.
Okay.
This is like these are the people I would bet money that are doing that.
Okay. So, yeah. So it sounds like a serious case of like mind control.
Sounds like he needs some more of the cucumber. He needs a little bit of the cucumber.
Euro.
Oh wow.
Well,
Oh, and there's another thing that I recently, few commenters on my channel said that they the if you're subscribed as a yearly member, which is $500, you it gets renewed automatically. Like there's no way to stop it. So at least one person, even though they've tried to have their account canceled, has been told like, oh no, we can't do it, we can't do it, you got to do it yourself, and they haven't been able to cancel, and they got charged $500, you know. So that's unethical, like not being able to cancel your membership.
oh yeah. And Doc Holiday in the chat says there's quite a few online groups trying to get people to buy into moving or escaping to Mexico for whatever reason. There's got to be something to it.
Right. And oh, there's an accessory business to all this. So Daniel was selling vaccine passports, they were selling Mexican residencies, which is immigration fraud. They were it's just like a bunch of things, you know, LifeWave, and then to get a personal consult with a teacher was like $300 a consultation. Where are you gonna make that money in Mexico? You know, you make $300 a month, you're lucky. Like I don't know what they were just basically scamming richer Americans and Canadians. And I had a few people email me when I was still with the society or just leaving, say they were saying that they were trying to move to Mexico with their social security and their retirement. And that's when I was like, oh my God, this is so sad. I can't tell them in good faith to move with their social security, you know, like that's not fair. And they were like, can we make it work? Like, can we make, and then can we come there and work and make money? And that's when I made that video that I guess somebody, I was hoping nobody would ever see it, but now it seems like a lot of people have seen it. And that's why Santos cussed me out, because I said that, you know, like don't come to Mexico. And then his last video, he's saying don't come. So
Okay. Well, I got like 5 minutes left before I gotta go to bed. It's almost 5 in the morning.
Isn't it really late?
Yeah. What? You got anything else any other laundry you wanna air out? All kinds of. We got all the gravy here tonight. I'm gonna have to clip that part out. And we'll put like a clickbait title for it, like Santos exposed. Santos and Daniel twink relationship exposed. Put a little Twinkie on the cover or something.
How about mind control exposed?
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. It's some
Well,
like
the
mad
thing,
abuse bullshit.
The point I keep on stressing is I think this is a move towards nihilism. I don't think sending Daniel, like such a crappy guy, you know, is at least send a sophisticated vampire. You know, why send such a crude one? I don't think that's a coincidence, because the point here is to get people to believe in nothing, you know. And if you don't have a strong spiritual grounding, then yeah, you might as well be pushed towards nihilism because of all this, especially with regard to Santos, because a lot of people have looked up to him so much, is what I came to see through the society, is that so many people have looked up to him and seen him as a sort of a role model, right? So those people have been calling me, a text, whatever, messaging, emailing me in the droves. Just, I can't tell my story, but I'm glad that you're speaking about it. And I loved Santos. We tried to do. It's not hard to love the guy when he's in his true form. He's actually a person of integrity. For every girl that I've seen Daniel be inappropriate towards, I've seen Santos be a genuine, like, not trying not trying to how do you say, like, not just trying to sleep with someone. That wasn't on his agenda. I thought he was genuinely a person with integrity that wanted to do good, but the ego is just, it's just nothing gets through that anymore. So I just want to urge people not to stop believing and to find some true teachers. I'm sorry to say this, forgive me if anyone's offended, but I really think, for most people that were raised Christian, they can come back to Jesus would be the best thing, and really embrace Jesus as a personal savior and spiritual guide in that sense, not as a idol that you need to worship without blindly and all of that. But I just encourage a personal relationship with Jesus. And again, if you're raised Muslim, then start to read the Quran again. And I would just say go back to your roots, because the spiritual teachings, they're there. In some way, shape, or form, if we've been attracted to and idolized any of these figures, then it's probably been because we're looking for something more glamorous than what spirit has to offer, right? And that we got to be honest with ourselves. Like, okay, well, if I went towards something because it's glamorous, then can I recognize that and recognize that shortcoming within me, and now change my approach, or am I just gonna, perpetuate that? And the reason I'm saying that is because people are seeing the things about Santos and opening their eyes, but now archaics is, if I say something about archaics, it's
Oh,
wrong.
they'll
Like,
attack you,
even if
huh?
it's the same issue.
They attack like
Same
rabid
people.
dogs.
Yeah.
They're
And it's the
nuts.
same people. I was so surprised.
It's interesting, isn't it?
So, it's like, what is the point of following these guys? There is no point. The point, if you follow God and Jesus Christ or Bhagwan Krishna, whatever it is, if you're a Hindu, then from the Bhagavad Gita, then you get something in return. And the price is, you don't pay a price of selling your soul or something.
Right.
It's free in that sense, and it's unconditional. But what do you get from these other entities except whatever it is that they're praying to?